Early in the morning, early in the morning, early in the morning.
What's going on, people? It's your boy Cam, Topical Juice, and first things first, I want to say thank you so much to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for everyone that joined Nicole and Sarah's live, and I joined very, very late. Honestly, I was so gassed. It was like a surprise appearance, like a late cameo. Proper humbling, man. Thank you. Just thank you for engaging with us and joining me as well. If you didn't know who I was beforehand, thank you for joining my YouTube channel now. I just appreciate every single one of you, man. It really means a lot to us. Really means a lot to me, and we can't grow on this YouTube channel without you guys, you know what I'm saying? So thank you, man. Thank you. Secondly, I'm so damn tired. I was up late last night. I don't think I slept until about 3:30. Once again, my body doesn't allow me to sleep. If I sleep late, I just want to wake up late. Yeah, at least give me my 6 hours or something, you get me? But I woke up at 8. A couple people in my comments yesterday were telling me about Ellie Spence from Love Island's video. And it's very interesting still, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't even remember what I said about Ellie. All I know is that I think I was done with her by the end. By the time she went, I was ready for Ellie to go. I was just like, Ellie and Jordan can go in it. I was bored of it. But hearing Ellie's perspective on her video is very, very interesting. I definitely would recommend you watch her video. Type in Ellie Spence, she's got a YouTube channel, and she basically did a video called Unseen Bits of Love Island or something like that, basically. Like the video, hit the bell to notify me. Please press that thumbs up for me. Wait, that's a like video. Sorry, please press that subscribe button. Please roll to 50k. We're very en route. I'm excited for the future. Merchandise in the description below. I need to add merchandise. I know. My loyal ones, I've been real lazy with the merchandise. I'm gonna do like a revamp soon. I'm gonna do some new designs. I'm gonna put it on my community page. I'm gonna share it with y'all. Bear with me, guys, bear with me. So Ellie Spence basically talks about some things that we didn't see, and she talks about some dynamics and arguments that we had no idea about. Things that producers should have shown us. And I've definitely got a different perspective from watching Ellie's video, because she makes a very good point. When you see certain people in certain lights, it either humanizes them or dehumanizes them. Do you know what I'm saying? So the producers are very good at dehumanizing these contestants. But what they actually go through while they're in the villa, it's not all fun and games, basically. So I've got to give credit to Ellie for actually doing this video. Because how many people after Love Island fall silent? How many people after Love Island shrink and don't expose the realities of the show? Because we know we've missed so much. What did I even say? What did I even say in yesterday's video before I even knew about Ellie's video? I said that the way they done Casey dirty with the way they kind of chopped the Cynthia scene here is exactly what they do to us. And Ellie then comes out actually coincidentally the same night and exposes some things we've never seen. The first thing she's talking about is, you know, her experience being on Love Island. So she was in isolation for like 3 weeks. She was genuinely in like a hotel, not knowing what's going on for 3 weeks. I can imagine that already, genuinely, that already is dead. Now that's not just individual to her. That's all Love Island contestants. A lot of them, sometimes they can be in quicker, but they're always in isolation before, because you can't. They don't let you watch the show. They don't let you be on your phone. So you could be there for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a hotel. Like we're back in C19, like we're back in lockdown, genuinely. And that already puts you in like a negative mental health space. You're already starting on the back foot. So that's quite interesting that she was in there for like 3 weeks with no contact with anyone, basically. And they tell her, listen, you're gonna join at the recoupling. You need to write a speech, basically. Get a speech ready. She's obviously excited. Her and the producers are buzzing. They're all excited. Oh my God, this is it. I don't know if she meant the girls or the producers, but she basically says when she joined, the dynamics, the kind of energy was flat. You know, no one had made space for her in the wardrobe. The energy wasn't really warm, it was cold. But she's friends with a lot of the girls now, most of the girls. I'm not too sure about Tanyel, but we'll get into that. She says that her and the other contestants are under the impression that everything is shown. And that's their lack of awareness, guys. The same way I said yesterday in yesterday's video that these lot are so stupid when it comes to talking about other people and bitching about other people, because we know that the movie night's gonna come here is the same way that they think they're under the impression that everything's gonna get shown. It's not. We are shown 45 minutes of a 24-hour day, guys, or 12-hour day, you know, when people are awake. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things that we do not see. There's a lot of arguments we don't see. There's a lot of chemistry we don't see. But one thing Ellie does say, and I probably do have to agree with this, is that because you don't have any phones and there's nothing to do, ultimately, once you get to know people, you know, once you find out their favorite color, a bit about their family, their dog, whatever, the only thing you can do is really talk about other couples. So I do kind of get that. But again, me personally, maybe I would get the boot early, because I can't see myself folding and bending to the will of these producers. I don't want to sit there bitching about other couples. But if I do, I'm going to do it with humility. I'm going to be like, you know what? I actually see both sides. I see that. I see so-and-so did this. but I can't really agree with so-and-so doing this. But then again, I understand her point of view when she did this. Do you understand? So I think if you're gonna talk about other people's couples, don't do it in such a bitchy way like Liv. You get out of here, man. Platypus ass. Anyway, that's quite an interesting insight there. It's true. When you haven't got your phones and you're literally with these people all day, every day, you eventually kind of run out of things to talk about. But me, I don't know, man. I'll end up being like Kai. I'll end up talking about biology and shit. It's funny because I was clowning Kai for talking about biology and all this stuff, and I was thinking, this guy's chat's dead. And you know what, yeah, Kai? I take that back. I'm sorry, innit? I apologise for that. It's true that when you run out of things to say, you end up talking about mad things and you start talking about chemistry and biology and stars. I'll be talking about astronomy, and I'll be talking about what do you think about living beings and aliens and space and all that stuff, you know? So I'd end up talking about mad things. I'd probably look like a loopy through the camera because that's how the producers do it, but I feel you on that one. Basically, she exposes the Gladiator Challenge. So remember the Gladiator Challenge here where Ron and Casey had a little bit of beef over Lana, and there was the whole Lana and Casey dynamic. Ellie was basically explaining that Ron and Casey had agreed off camera, or maybe even on camera, that whoever whoever she picks, the other will back off. Now, Ron basically didn't respect that, and he agreed to that thinking that he was gonna win. So he was he was genuinely shocked when she picked Casey. When he picked Lana in the challenge and didn't back off from Casey, she was basically saying how it was mad awkward because they all were under the impression that Ron was going to back off. So it was mad awkward, and Casey looked like he was about to cry apparently, and he did. When he was standing there, he looked awkward. He did, and it was awkward. It's funny hearing the behind the scenes of the scenes that we've seen on TV. And the producer said to them, guys, you know how they do. We want you to talk about who was the sexiest dancer. And then basically there was a massive argument that broke out that we didn't see. So there was a massive argument once again. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess. Who is it? Who's going to be in the argument? Oh, you guessed it. It's me. I'm back in the argument as usual. Yeah, no, you guessed it. 100%. Live facts. There was an argument because Tanyel, Lana, and Sammy wanted to vote for Ron to win because at the time they all messed with Ron. They all effed with Ron. Tanyel had deep unearthed feelings for him. Even though she denies it. Nah, whatever, they're best friends, cool. Tanyel was backing Ron, Lana was obviously backing Ron, and then Sammy was backing Ron because Sammy was still liked Ron at this point before Ron parted her off. Then Olivia basically was saying, we're not backing Ron here, you know what I mean? We don't want Ron to win, rah, rah, rah. And then Olivia starts crying again. Ellie even says this with her own words. She says Olivia is really sensitive and she takes everything personal. So everything we've seen on TV is exactly what Liv is like, basically. Proper sensitive, takes everything, and like she brings up the whole Sammy in the water thing. That was like the start of a divide. And the reason why they didn't show it, they had an argument, but the cameras weren't rolling. So maybe I don't necessarily think that's their fault, because I think by the time the cameras were rolling and said, yo, carry on, no one had any vim. And I think it was Tanyel, the only one prepared to carry on, kind of arguing for Ron's sake and run. Olivia's balls shrank as usual. I think they just end up missing the whole argument. So we didn't see any of that. And that was basically the start of like a divide in the villa when it came to certain members of the girls. And then the divide continued when, once again, Olivia was mad at Tanyel because Tanyel didn't immediately comfort her when Sammy pushed water over her. It's this Olivia girl, genuinely, I can't believe she's genuinely one of the worst humans I've ever come across. I say that in all my videos. She is. The entitlement. She really is Regina George. I said it in yesterday's video, but I'm gonna put a screenshot. I'm gonna try and find a screenshot of the clip I'm talking about. Her literally with the two girls around her, like, and everyone's just comforting her. She needs everyone to comfort her because she's so insecure and just immature and all these things. There's a reason why she hadn't had a boyfriend at 27 years old. Don't get me wrong, I've been single for 6 years, happily. For you to not have a boyfriend ever, red flag, boy, red flag. Not even a little 15, 16-year-old one. Not even them fake ones. You ain't even had one of them? Boy, more unseen bits. Olivia starts crying, and says that she feels Sammy is taking Tanyel and Lana away from her. This is the same Liv and Sammy who are now besties now. The same Sammy who's now bending to the will of Liv and cussing out Kai. Sammy that's now cleaning Olivia's shit out of her ass with her own tongue. It's madness. It's mad how the dynamics have changed, and Olivia's now got her Jedi turd mind trick going on. Ellie then starts talking about further on beef and how there was a lot of scenes between her and Tom that got unseen. Basically, there was more to her situation, and there was more to the argument. After she had the argument with Tom, and she felt that she could have said a lot more because Tom was doing a lot more than we saw. She had cried to Shaq and Tanya basically, and they had an off day before the argument. So like a day where there's no filming and stuff, where they can just chill, eat Dominoes and all these things, whatever, pizza. relax. But on this off day, apparently the boys were separated and Olivia went inside to get and put Tom's jacket on, and she explains that her and Tom have fixed it. I think she puts Tom's jacket on in the series actually. I think we might have seen that, I'm not too sure, but she just explains the behind the scenes. If we didn't see that, then fair enough. When she heard that, she thought, oh, here we go again. Like, you know, I'm getting to know Tom and all these things, and then Olivia's come back in again on her off day. Like on the off day, we're meant to be all chilling, getting on, but Olivia's kind of playing games again. Is the impression I got. I know Ellie didn't say that. Let me make that clear. Ellie didn't say that, but that's kind of the impression I was got. That on this off day, she's realised again that she's going to be kind of in the bottom again, and all this and being alone. And basically, she was explaining how it's taking a toll on her mental health. Now, me, I don't really let things like this affect me in it. So I do empathise. So I am going to give Ellie credit for speaking her truth and kind of talking about how that's why her demeanour was flat on camera at certain times, because of what was going on behind the scenes. Tom was kind of being a bit more of an F-boy around her, saying, you know, talking about how he's platonic, but then in bed trying to cuddle her, chew her ear off and get close to her, say, listen, I'll protect you with this and that. And you know how Tom is, he says the right things, and he's good with like body language. And you know how men are. You can imagine the saying platonic on the screen, and then you jump in bed with someone and wants to cuddle you and get touchy-feely, and they even say, she even admits that they got handsy. She says nothing happened, but it was close to happening. And that just says so much about men's mentality and well, specifically Tom's mentality. But I know a lot of men that are exactly the same, you know. You talk about platonic, but then you get in bed with him, and then you start getting hands-on and start wanting to rub and play and fiddle and flick, you know what I'm saying? Where she falls flat again is like, and she feels a bit isolated and whatever, is that after Sammy gets pied by Ron, she runs to Tom, and like she didn't really want to F that up for them. And it's funny because Ron seems to be the centre of the divide between the kind of group. Now, she's very careful what she says, because she actually supports Ron. She actually said, listen, all you boys, you're not used to getting this attention. And Ron even says that. He says, oh, you know, I thought I'd have to fight for all these girls. But all the girls were throwing themselves at Ron. So, and she actually encourages that. So I'm glad that Ellie admitted that. Ellie actually said, listen, Ron, if I was you, I would kind of play the field as well. People are throwing themselves at you. When are you going to get this chance again? So I'm glad that she kind of admitted that, because people really made it seem that Ron was actually moving mad for taking his chance with other girls. But obviously it was the way he was going about it, singing sweet nothings in Lana's ear and then lying to rah and like saying that it's over with Sammy, and then flirting with Sammy, saying you look nice and all these things. And like Sammy apparently was like floating around Ron a lot. Apparently there was one day that she completely aired Tom, and just floated around Ron all day, all night or whatever. A lot of people didn't like that, because you've got the girls now who didn't really like what Ron was doing. Not necessarily what Ron was doing, but kind of how he was doing it. You know, when you've got that friend where you know that your girlfriend shouldn't go back to this guy, but she keeps going back to this guy. That's kind of what they felt. Some of the girls were annoyed at what Ron was doing and how they were treating Lana. And obviously Shaq was as well, because back in the day when Shaq was getting his big mouth in everyone's business, yeah, Shaq was getting annoyed at Lana because people respected Lana, but Tom was annoyed at Ron because of Sammy, because Sammy liked Ron, and Tom was witnessing Sammy like Ron. So then there's a bit more of a divide there. So Ron, yeah, was isolated, and that then culminated in the cooking episode. You know, when Shaq decided to go and call out Ron. Now, Ellie says that if it wasn't going to be Shaq, it probably would have been someone else, because everyone was annoyed at Ron that day. And even though he did a lot of the cooking, he had burnt chocolate somehow and kind of ruined something, and tensions were high basically. So she explains the context behind that. I disagree with the way Shaq handled that. I genuinely do, and I don't think it was right. I was fuming when I saw Shaq do that, and I proper gave him less credit. I think Shaq, if he stays out of everyone's business, he's a calm brother. For real, if he stays out of everyone's business, he's a very, very calm brother, but he ain't got to be so inner. One of the biggest things that she exposes is Tanyel. How Tanyel basically had a massive, massive row with Shaq, and we saw none of it. Not one bit did we see. It was Ellie, Spencer, Jesse, and Shaq. And unprovoked, allegedly unprovoked, there's always two sides, but allegedly unprovoked, Tanyel rocks up and just starts defending Ron. And if you see Tanyel's video, I think it's on GQ or something, she actually exposes this 6 days ago, a week ago, she spoke about this. She only a little detail though. So from Tanyel's point of view, she says that she went up to, basically had an argument with them and saying, why have you always got Ron's name in your mouth, tap thing, just let it go in it, just focus on your own thing. And then Shaq apparently just goes off on one. Shaq says, listen, this is from Ellie's point of view now, Shaq says, I've had enough of Ron, you know what I'm saying, stop talking about Ron. This, that and the other. They end up having a massive, massive blowout. Tanyel keeps woofing, keeps barking at him, and Shaq shuts her down apparently. He says, listen, don't you dare talk to me the way you talk to Kai. I ain't one of them brothers, you know what I'm saying, Don't you, I ain't gonna have it. And apparently she kind of quietened down a little bit. But she was on this rah-rah, she was on this kind of hot, you know, this fiery nature that Tanyel loves to talk about. And the reason why people basically were not really on Tanyel's side throughout this whole thing is because she had constantly said, you know, if a man had treated me like that, I wouldn't stand for it. So in one breath, she's saying, if a man had treated me like that, I wouldn't stand for it. In the second breath, she's cuddling him. And then in the third breath, she's actually comforting Lana. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think the villa felt that Tanyel was just, they didn't really appreciate how she was moving, because she was doing one thing, she was saying another, and she was saying another. Now don't get me wrong, I still F with Tanyel, but I can imagine the fact that everyone in the villa was saying the same thing apparently, and things that we didn't see. It says a lot about maybe what was going on behind the scenes, innit? And then she switched to Ellie. Now, I don't think she switched to Ellie for no reason. I think the way Ellie's video edited, the way she chopped it, it felt like she chopped the bit where she says, I chimed in or something, so I'm not too sure. Because I think Ellie did pipe up at herself and spoke about how she gets involved. So I'm not coming at Ellie here, but I do think she probably would have said something that would have then triggered Tanyel to go off on Ellie. I can't see Tanyel randomly going off on Ellie for no reason if she's sitting there quiet. So I do think Ellie must have thrown her little opinion in there as well. And then basically Tanyel goes off on Ellie. And then people are saying, you know, you blindly defend Ron. She's switching to Ellie. Jesse then defends Ellie, saying, oh, she's right. Tanyel then barks at Jesse. You know what I'm saying? Saying, rah. That's when Shaq's saying, don't you effing get involved. Don't you effing talk to me like Kai and the other boys, etc, etc. Nighttime comes around now. They then go back into the makeup room. Tanyel then goes off again at Ellie. This time I believe it's unprovoked. So much so that the voice, she called it the voice of God. That there's like a voice that comes on the speakers that we obviously don't get to hear. But a voice that tells them what they're doing or whatever. Basically said, Tanyel, chill, innit? Like the voice over the speakers or the narrator, whatever it is, said, actually came on to the thing and said, Tanyel, bake off. You're doing too much, because apparently Tanyel had said something below the belt. Now, Ellie said below the belt, but I think she should have exposed what she said personally, because I want to know. Because watching Tanyel's reaction back, she was like, oh yeah, I wish we would have seen it, because they would have seen my fiery side, and because she was almost proud of how she acted. So I would like to see what she said, but apparently, because she was like, you know, I just say how I feel, and I really said how I felt. So like, it's clear that she said something that was quite controversial, and Ellie believes it was below the belt, because apparently every islander's reaction was, nah, Tanyel, you need to chill. Yeah, I think Tanyel might, by the end, I think she did isolate herself a little bit from the group. There was a few more things, but I mean, guys, this video is long enough already. So if you want to check out Ellie's video, she did a 44-minute video on it. Put it on ×2 speed and you can get through it faster, because there's little bits and bobs where she's just kind of waffling. She did say that she lost a stone through stress. You know, it's not nice to hear that at the end of the day. And people talk about Love Island being glitz and glam, but if someone's losing a stone through stress, so much so that her parents even noticed, because apparently they get a 10-minute call like once, like a well-being call. Her dad recognised straight away that the girls had been isolated her, and the parent must know anyway. But she did give credit to the health and well-being team. You know, even if you say you got something wrong with your belly, there'll be a doctor there within 10 seconds. You know what I'm saying? I think they are hot on mental health and physical health. So I will give them credit for that. But they have to be, because it's a social experiment, guys. When you're putting all these people in a villa with no phones and no access to the outside world, it's going to basically play on your mind, innit? Certain things are going to play on your mind. But guys, it's an interesting one. Even though Ellie, towards the end, I was glad that Ellie went, Jordan as well, that they were boring it about the end. To see her perspective and why she was the way she was, I appreciate that. And not to mention, I like when someone has the balls, the cojones, to actually do a video and expose certain things. Like when I was on that Channel 4 documentary and they portrayed me in a way that I didn't really appreciate, you know, more like a contestant, more like a participant like them, and not like a presenter role that they framed to me originally. I jumped on my YouTube channel and kind of exposed it, you know what I'm saying? So I like when someone doesn't like what they see on the internet, or sorry, on TV, and they expose it on their own channel. I respect that, man, because everyone, you know, with Love Island, they usually make you sign stuff, and you know, you can't speak about this afterwards, and nah, screw you, man. You're exploiting everyone for fame and money anyway, so it's good that they can get their little get back. You get me? But anyway, guys, I should be going live tonight. I'm knackered. I'd love to get a nap in, but once I'm awake, I'm awake. I think that's the ADHD in me. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Check out the video below. Like, comment, subscribe. All I know, man. I'm just a man in his 20s. Peace.